To item 9A, reports of village officials. I don't know if President Johnson gave anyone, I haven't received anything from him regarding any. So I have two. Guess I get to go first tonight. One is there is a high school production that's coming Thursday, October 5th, 6th and 7th at 7 p.m. Please, if you're considering supporting the arts, the kids have been working really hard, and staff at the high school on this production. Adults $10, children $5, and you can purchase your tickets online or by calling the school.
What night are you going?
Not the same night that you're going. And then the other thing that I have is, again, the League of Wisconsin Municipalities annual convention is for conferences. I forget which day it is, the 19th of this month, Wednesday through Friday, I believe it's October 19th. And I will be sure to bring our ordinance number 2086 to my league colleagues that we passed tonight regarding the banning of the tar-based stalens. I don't have anything else. Any trustees?
Okay, Wednesday, October 4th this week is Walk This Way, the Walk and Bike to School Day that Ped Bike Safety is organizing, and we're going to have it at both elementary schools and also at the intermediate schools. So there will be treats for the kids and a raffle, and we hope that all the kids will remember to bike and wear their helmets. October 14th is Conservation Fair. The Conservation Committee has been organizing the Fish and Feather Festival, I believe it's called, and this year is combined with the Conservation Fair, so there will be opportunity, in addition to all the fun events and the wading in the river and other things that happen at Fish and Feather, there will also be recycling, and you can bring your batteries and your paint and other things to recycle.
Trustee Menta, is that going to be held down at the river, all of them? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's right.
And I did, 3 of us were at the bar board meeting, so I did just want to let the other trustees know that we had a good discussion with the school board, 3 of the school board members, and discussed the Human Relations Commission, and hopefully they're going to go back to the school board and talk about it, talk amongst themselves, figure out what their involvement, how they would like to be involved in including in the appointment process and ongoing. So.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Trustees
Perhaps you were going to address this, and if you're not, I'm going to remind you to address it because I didn't leave earlier. There was a meeting co-hosted by the Public Works Committee and the Public Safety Committee, and most significantly led by Tyler. With my count was about 40. I don't have my notes. 40. I do have my notes. 40. There were about 40-ish residents that came there, and I think we'll in a future meeting we'll agenda a report for action items. I know there's still some more consideration, but I think it was a very good meeting and very well organized. So thank you to Tyler for that. Secondly, I was likely the last person to sign up for a historical house marker, stone from the Historical Society. I might check that I'm going to drop off as I leave. And Bob Dean from the Historical Society tells me that there's about 200, and it was just over 200, I forgot the exact number of homeowners that ordered a marker. So that I don't know what anybody else expected. That was well higher, much higher than mine. So they're still on schedule to get that order in. I think it went in today, and it'll be installed this fall. So
When's the next order? Did they say?
he said they'll do another one next season. So I suspect spring, summer. So that was very pleasant news, and that's all that I have at this time.
All right, village manager.
Thank you. I had one item this evening. I will be brief. First of all, let me apologize for sending it to you today. I wanted the consultant to make a couple of changes. You may have noted if you had a opportunity to read through it. There were some references to village president, or excuse me, village manager and village attorney, and I don't know that that's, I don't believe that's been an issue. We've had good communications with all of the trustees. Nevertheless, he included that. I guess it's his kind of standard program. But I will tell you that when this item came up, and all of you are aware it's been discussed at least 2 different board meetings, I went shopping and I talked to some of my associates in the consulting business, and Lyle Stomach Associates was the name that came up. It sounded familiar. I did a little checking and found out that I knew Lyle. I attended one of his university workshops for the City Managers Association. I can tell you he is very, very good. This is what he specializes in, and he's done a lot of these for a lot of village boards and city councils all around the country. He has a good process. I think he will come in, he will arrange either a telephone, I think mostly telephone interviews, possibly some personal interviews, would talk to all of the trustees, all of the counselors, and some of the management team as well about issues related to board relations and board communications. And then he comes in and he does a 1-day seminar. We saw some of the materials he had used in some of the other seminars, and it was pretty impressive. It's not cheap. It's $8,000 to do this, and I think by the time you get done with his expenses and the hours, you're looking at about that amount of money. What I mentioned to Guy, and I'll share it with the entire board, it's a significant amount of money, but when you look at what's at stake and the value that could be added here by working through some of the issues that have come out at prior board meetings, I compliment the board tonight. You did a wonderful job of dealing with some relatively complex issues, and the dialogue and the discussion was all done at a very professional level. But I still think this is something you should avail yourselves of. I think all of you could learn by going through this process. And I think going forward, it might smooth out some of the rough edges. Obviously, there are 2 factions on the board. We saw that again tonight. And some of you, most of you probably have some very strong viewpoints. Some of you came to the board with an ideological perspective. Some of you have very strong personalities and want to be intimately involved in the detail and minutiae of government. And I think this would help you to kind of get a better focus on the role of the setting trustee and what the governing board does as opposed to what the management team does or the city attorney. So I'm recommending you avail yourselves of this opportunity. I didn't put this on for any specific action tonight. I was hoping maybe to get some comment, see what the board members thought of the proposal. If it's something you'd like us to pursue, I would try and set it up before my departure. We've had a chance to work together, although I missed some board meetings because of travel and some family things that have come up, but I had an opportunity to set through a number of them, and I think this would be a good exercise to try to get in, if possible, by the end of the month before Rebecca arrives, and go through this and work through these items before your new permanent managers on site. With that, whatever questions, Madam Chairperson, comments anyone has.
Thank you. I always let you go first. I'm going to switch it up. Is there anyone else who'd like to go first? Otherwise, Trustee Rose. Go ahead.
Thank you. I have 3 questions. Funding source would be?
Well, that would be the general fund. There's no magical funding source for this.
And just like, is it general reserve? Which one is it, capital reserve? I don't know. Okay, so I'd like to know that.
There's probably enough money in the budget. There's been some staff turnover, what have you. There's probably enough in there to handle it out of the general fund.
Okay, and then we don't need RFP. I don't remember what our purchasing policy says, whether we have to just compare prices with 2 or 3.
Well, you're under 10,000.
I know, but there is a category, right, Mike? There was, like, you could get, like, you compare prices or something.
Well, there aren't a lot of people out there that specialize in this. I'm sure I could find another consultant somewhere that could offer one, but,
I
you know, I wasn't looking for expertise. I, to be honest with you, I wasn't looking for a chief. I was looking for the guy or the person that's got a national practice and decades of experience in precisely this
I
topic.
totally appreciate that, but if our policy says one thing, we should probably follow it. So I appreciate that we're not looking for price, we're looking for expertise. And then the other, the two things I have is timing. I feel very, very strongly that our village president sets the tone. We know our village president is retiring as of April, and I feel that like we've kind of waited on a lot of decisions because we don't have the planning director here yet, or we don't have our permanent village manager. I really would like that person, whoever it may be, it could be one of us, it could be someone from the community, but I think it's really important if we're setting, I did read the scope, and we're setting process, you know, like kind of like setting up our process, and I feel
Right.
like the village president should be involved in that. And maybe it'll be someone from internal, and that would happen anyways, but if not, I'm supportive of this effort. I just really feel strongly that the new village president, whomever that may be involved, because it is setting board, you know, it comes from the top and you're setting policy, and that person really should be involved. I feel more comfortable for
Puts
that.
this off until next, probably mid-May at the very earliest, before you would have not only your new president in place, which would be mid-April,
Right.
but an opportunity to schedule something like this with, you know, the new leadership. So you're looking
I mean, it's a
at
great.
sometime between mid-May and mid-June.
Yeah, and I think we also have two trustees that are running, and they might change too, you never know. So I just feel like the timing of it would be perfect right after the election. It'd be a perfect start.
I hear what you're saying, but we do have consistent turnover just about every year, so.
Right, so it'd be right after the election. So, and then the last thing that I had was, you mentioned that there are two new trustees, you know, one gets into the minutia of things and the other one, I can't remember what you said, but it was about, you know, had strong ideologies. Is that why we're doing this? Is to show us how policymakers are supposed to?
I think there have been issues with a number of trustees on every side, on both coalitions. I don't think that it's any one or two people. I think there have been a lot of communication issues out there. And I think this is a way for you as a group, and I spoke to Trustee Amenta today about looking forward and trying to get off of some of the things in the past. And, you know, maybe a past board made a mistake. Maybe there was a problem with one of the economic development projects. That could be. But at some point, we've got to start being proactive and looking forward and
And that's what I
not
expect from our
constantly
president
talking
to tell
about,
us.
look what you did to me in the past.
Yes.
Look what you posted on your Facebook page
But
3 months
can
ago.
I just say,
You
the
know, we've
reason I'm
got
saying
to
this
work
is-
together to look
It
forward.
It sounds like I'm just saying this because it's personal now. It sounds like because we don't have agreement on the board of what this is for, that it is just the two of us. And if so, I would appreciate the president or the leader of our group at least first approaching us and having a conversation. That has not occurred. I've never met with the president since I've
I'm
been.
sorry you interpreted it that way. That was not intended. There have been issues with both coalitions. There have been communication issues. There have been issues of rumors and people talking in the community and people approaching counselors with carrying, tales or making negative comments. There have been a number of issues, and I think the group would benefit by an exercise like this. I don't know how to react. I mean, that's strictly up to the board. Waiting till next spring wasn't even close to what I had envisioned in terms of trying to deal with some of this stuff now before Rebecca arrives. But that's certainly an option.
I think I'm just suggesting a cheaper first step, which might be that the president needs to discuss some of the issues with his trustees.
I think I'm going to, I appreciate this, the work that you've done here. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I think all of us would benefit from this, regardless of if we're gonna be here 6 months or beyond. I do feel that our board, and I'm not gonna say, I think all of us would benefit. We all have our strengths, and team building is important, and in my opinion, and I don't feel often that we are a team. I feel that there's a lot of working against versus with each other, even when we're allowed, I'm not talking about disagreeing, of course, we have every right to disagree on things, but it's, as you mentioned, moving forward. You know, we have to continue to move forward, we have to find a way to move forward, even though we don't all have the same ideology. So I am not in favor of waiting on this. I think that this is long overdue, and I appreciate the work that you've done. So that's my piece. Yes, Trustee Mahan.
I agree 100% with Trustee Rozek that if we're going to spend $8,000 to $10,000 of taxpayer dollars on our inability to behave in a civil way or in a way that we all agree that we should be treating each other, that at least let's make that expenditure right after the election cycle when we at least, will get the benefit of a new president and the board that's going to be in place for an entire year. I have to say, just as a practical matter too, in October, I mean, we have budget meetings scheduled in addition to our regular board meetings. Since I'm the liaison to both head and vice